Now that the new maps coming to Battlefield 1 with the Apocalypse DLC were available for testing during the weekend and I actually got the chance to play them and test them out, we're gonna take a look at them and see if those actually got improved if we compare them to the ones that we got in the previous CTE build. Personally, I like seeing other YouTubers recording videos about maps being updated before they even got the chance to play those updated maps and capture footage from them. Literally, most of the videos that were released about the updated Apocalypse maps were released not only with the old footage from the previous build, but also before those YouTubers actually had the chance to play on those maps. And how do I know this? Well, it's quite simple actually, because their videos were posted before the update was even available to be downloaded. But regardless of that, getting into the actual topic of this video, and that being Apocalypse maps getting textured and improved, I have to say that both DICE developers and Battlefield 1 community that provided them feedback came through. They really did a solid job this time, they really did improve all of the maps, and those are like 100 times better if you compare them to the previous build that we got to play like a week ago, or 2 weeks ago. Starting off with the Caporetto map, this one received tons of changes in terms of cover and actually got a lot more of it. Because of DICE increasing the amount of cover between attacker's base and the A objective, it is now a lot easier to actually move between those and capture the first objective for the attackers. Although, I have to say that I still think that it is too hard for the attackers to capture this objective. It's not like I've been always losing on this map and now I'm complaining, it's more like I think that the distance that attackers need to actually run to get to the first objective is just too long and defenders, or not exactly defenders, but the team which is holding all of the flags at the beginning, has a lot easier job in positioning themselves before the attackers can even reach the first objective. Don't get me wrong, the map has improved a lot here, but I still think that attackers should spawn closer to the objective so that they wouldn't get spawn trapped pretty much every single round. Also, talking about cover on this map, objectives B and E got pretty much totally redesigned because they got tons of new cover and it is a lot easier to actually play on those objectives now, considering that you do have something to hide behind and you're not left in the open for all of the enemies. I don't necessarily want to go into details and talk about every single rock or bush that was added or moved around, but the placement of cover is definitely much better compared to what it used to be a week ago. DICE has also added more Calvary units to the map, but don't be fooled, those are actually relevant now, considering that DICE also buffed them at the same time, and this buff is coming to the game along with the Apocalypse DLC. Moving on to the second map, and that being the one called Passchendaele, or however else it is supposed to be pronounced, I have no idea, so forgive me for that, but getting into the changes that were made on this map, generally the majority of those focus around the base of Germans. DICE has added livens there, as well as spread out the spawn locations, so that it's not that easy to spawn trap Germans in their base anymore. It was kind of a big deal in the previous build. If you've played it, you probably remember that majority of rounds pretty much ended with Germans being locked in their base, which wasn't really the best experience, and I have to honestly admit that I was playing this game for the whole weekend now, and not a single time was I locked in the base. Also, to prevent the spawn camping even more, DICE implemented more stationary machine guns in the base, so that now Germans actually get some decent firepower if they need to get out of it. Granted, this might have not been the best idea they came up with, considering that it's extremely easy to snipe someone out of the mounted machine gun, but still, they get some advantage, so it's fine. And to balance out the round in the other sections of the map, which didn't really need any balancing, but still, DICE decided to implement the elite classes, and they spawn in the various locations on the map. Out of all of those 3 maps, I think that Passchendaele didn't really need that much fixing, and as we see, DICE didn't really do much because they didn't need to. This one was actually ready for the release in the first build, except for that problem with German base. Also, I just have to add that I personally think that Passchendaele is the most World War I map out of all maps in BF1. Seriously, none of the other maps give such a vibe. You can literally feel the whole destruction and terror of war around you. And on other maps, for example Amiens, you don't really have that, it's just a normal city map. While there, on Passchendaele, you can literally feel the whole immersion and everything. It's not like I've been to a war, but you get the idea. You might not really see this on the gameplay on YouTube because of the compression and the quality of video being bad, but trust me, once you play this map on your screen, see it on your console or PC, you will be just amazed by how this map actually looks like in reality. And moving on to the third map, that one being called the River Somme, this one got tons of improvements as well, and it plays out so much better than it used to. There's been a lot more cover added around the A objective, which is the first one that British Army has to take if they want to progress in the round. DICE also made some changes to the terrain in the wheat field, and wheat field is basically the surroundings of the A objective. Not only that, but they have also added a Leven's projector to hit the farm, the A objective, with gas grenades to make it easier for the Brits to actually push it. On top of that, they even implemented an additional trench to make it easier for the Brits to push. And being completely honest here, I still think that it's not a perfect solution. It is much better than it used to be, but I still ended up in just too many situations where British were stuck in their spawn and they couldn't do anything for the whole round. Once they got pushed back at the beginning, they couldn't come out of it. There is no way for them to do it. As I said, it is a lot better than it used to be, but still, once they get pushed back and actually locked in their spawn, there is no way for them to come out. It's just a slaughter. But talking about other changes, not only those around the A objective, but in general, around the whole map, DICE added more than 5 new trenches, allowing you to travel without getting yourself instantly sniped or getting killed by the land ship. Not only that, but those trenches, along with the one that existed before, got deeper and bigger, so that now you can actually take the full advantage of them and properly hide in them without leaving yourself exposed to the enemies. Apart from trenches, DICE has also implemented craters around the whole map, as well as adjusted the terrain heights so that now you don't get sniped across the whole map by either sniper or land ship. We knew how this worked in the previous build. Also, there's been more cover added around the map, both the destructible one and the one that can't be destroyed. And to balance out fight between teams, DICE decided to reduce the amount of vehicles available for British faction from 2 to 1. I don't really understand it, but to balance it out, British Army now gets elite classes spawned if they fall too far behind in the score. I'm not really sure about those two changes here, considering that one more land ship is actually more useful when it comes to pushing through an open field than elite classes, which will get sniped or killed with LMGs before they even get close to the enemies, but maybe there is some deeper sense in that and I just can't see it yet. Anyway, those would be all of the changes, and as I've said at the beginning of this video, I really do think that both DICE and community with their feedback came through this time. They gave a solid feedback, and DICE developers did a solid job with implementing them into the game. Honestly though, I have to say that personally I'm still a little bit worried about DICE pushing out this DLC in February and just rushing to release it. I don't quite understand it, considering that if they do want to release it in February, they will have to finish it up soon, because they have to submit it to Sony and Microsoft for the verification process, which takes like a week or even longer. And I don't really see a reason why we would want this DLC to be out so fast. We just got the second half of Turning Tides. Granted, we had to wait for a long time, but then again, wouldn't it be smarter to actually wait a while, considering that we've been waiting so long for the previous DLCs and now they come out month by month? It's quite weird if you think about it. Anyway guys, that would be it for this video. Let me know down in the comments what do you think about the new Apocalypse maps. Do you like the improvements? Do you like how they textured them? Write down the comment, and as always, if you enjoyed, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and I see you on the battlefield.